There was a time when Eden Hazard was considered one of the best footballers on the planet. Not one of the best players in the Premier League, not one of the best players in his position, one of the best players in the entire world. He was the player defenders feared, the man who could change a game in seconds, and the superstar who looked destined to become one of football's all-time greats. But then, almost overnight, everything changed. The goals disappeared, the dribbles disappeared, the confidence disappeared. And somehow one of football's biggest talents ended his career at just 32 years old, looking nothing like the player who once dominated England. So what happened to Eden Hazard? How did a player who looked unstoppable fall out of the game so quickly? This is the story of the superstar who disappeared. Eden Hazard's journey started in Belgium, where he quickly showed that he was different. Joining Lille as a teenager, Hazard was already playing against professional footballers, while most players his age were still trying to develop. And it didn't take long for the world to notice. He was quick, creative, unpredictable, and fearless. But unlike many young players who relied purely on speed or athletic ability, Hazard had something much more special. He could beat defenders while standing still. He could change direction instantly. And he played football with a confidence that made everything look effortless. By the age of 20, he had already become one of Europe's most exciting young players. In the 2010-11 season, he helped Lille win the Ligue 1 title and Coupe de France. The following year, he was named Ligue 1 Player of the Year. Europe's biggest clubs were watching. And in 2012, Chelsea won the race for his signature. But nobody knew just how good Eden Hazard was about to become. When Hazard arrived in England, many expected him to need time to adapt. Instead, he immediately announced himself. His first Premier League season saw him score 9 goals and provide 14 assists. But the numbers didn't even tell the full story. Hazard was chaos for defenders. He could receive the ball anywhere on the pitch and create something out of absolutely nothing. Fullbacks couldn't get near him. Midfielders couldn't catch him, and even when teams knew exactly what he wanted to do, they still couldn't stop him. Over the next few years, Hazard transformed from an exciting youngster into Chelsea's main man. Then came the 2014-15 season. This was the moment Hazard truly arrived. He scored 19 goals, created countless chances, and was named the Premier League Player of the Season. At just 24 years old, it looked like football had found its next global superstar. Some even believed he could challenge Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo for the title of the best player in the world. And for a while, it genuinely felt possible. The best version of Eden Hazard arrived in the 2018-19 season. This was Hazard at his absolute peak. He was unstoppable. For Chelsea, he scored 21 goals and provided 17 assists in all competitions. He carried the team, he won games by himself, and every single week fans were reminded just how special he was. One of his greatest performances came against West Ham, where he scored one of the most iconic solo goals of his career. Picking up the ball near the halfway line, Hazard danced past defender after defender before calmly finishing. It wasn't just a great goal, it was the perfect example of who Eden Hazard was. Confidence, skill, brilliance. At that moment, he looked ready to take the next step and become one of football's true legends. And then came the move that changed everything. In the summer of 2019, Real Madrid signed Eden Hazard for around £100 million. This was the dream. The club he had always wanted to play for. The shirt worn by legends like Cristiano Ronaldo, Zinedine Zidane, and Luis Figo. Many believed Hazard would become the next superstar of the Bernabeu, but instead, his time in Madrid became one of football's biggest disappointments, because almost immediately, things started going wrong. Before his first season even began, Hazard arrived overweight after the summer break. Then the injuries started. And not just small injuries either. Repeated ankle problems, muscle issues, and fitness struggles kept him away from the pitch. The player who had rarely been injured at Chelsea suddenly couldn't stay fit. And every time he returned, he struggled to find his old form. The explosive runs became less frequent. The confidence disappeared. And the player who once terrified defenders now looked like a shadow of his former self. The biggest problem was that Real Madrid had signed Eden Hazard expecting their next superstar. They weren't signing a squad player. They weren't signing potential. They were signing one of the best players in the world. But instead of becoming the face of Madrid, Hazard became remembered for what he couldn't do. During his entire Real Madrid career, he scored just 7 league goals. 7. For comparison, in his final Premier League season alone, he scored 16. The difference was unbelievable. A player who once carried Chelsea was now struggling to make an impact. And slowly, the football world started asking the same question. What happened to Eden Hazard? There were many reasons behind Hazard's downfall. The injuries obviously played the biggest role. The ankle injury he suffered against Paris Saint-Germain damaged the foundation of his game. Hazard's greatest weapon was his explosiveness, his ability to accelerate, stop, change direction, and escape defenders. But injuries took away that physical advantage. His weight and fitness were also constantly questioned. And unlike players who dedicate every single moment of their lives to football, Hazard was always open about enjoying life away from the pitch. He loved spending time with his family, he loved food, he loved enjoying himself, and while that personality made him one of football's most likeable players, it also meant he perhaps didn't have the same obsession that pushed players like Messi and Ronaldo to maintain their level for so long. By 2023, Hazard's time at Real Madrid was over. His contract was terminated, and just months later he announced his retirement from football. At only 32 years old, for a player who once looked capable of becoming one of the greatest ever, it felt impossible. Fans were left wondering what could have been, because the saddest part of Hazard's story isn't that he wasn't successful. He won trophies, he won league titles, he won the Champions League, he became a Premier League legend. The sadness is that we never got to see how far he could have gone. At his best, Eden Hazard had everything. The ability, the creativity, the personality. He had the talent to be remembered alongside the greatest players of his generation. But football can change quickly. One injury, one bad run, one unlucky moment, and suddenly the player who once seemed unstoppable is fighting just to get back on the pitch. Eden Hazard didn't fail. He became one of Chelsea's greatest ever players, but the reason his story remains so fascinating is because we all know there was more. Much more, because Eden Hazard wasn't a player who never reached the top. He reached the top, and then, far too soon, he disappeared. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out one of the videos on screen now. Thanks for watching.